I need to sit down and meditate and figure out what is happening to me. And I started meditating. I stopped going to church. I started practicing. I got really big into Wicca at first, and then I started learning more about Egypt, and I've been doing I've been, and I connected with Thoth. And so when I started working with Thoth, like, I wasn't working with him every day. I would just speak his name, and I would ask him, because I was in school, and I would... Thank you guys so much for coming back and watching Live Light Low. Today, I'm just going to convey what happened in my spiritual story. I'm gonna make it a series because it is quite long and there was different steps to it. Now, I just want to go ahead and preface, currently, I am in my third or fourth stage of awakening. So the reason why I wanted to do this story is because I want you guys to understand that when you're awakening, it's not a one and done process. You're taking leaps up, and then you're creating a stable ground to jump off of to get to the next ledge for your next leap. And every time that you do that, you expand and you get greater and you become better, right? So basically, this is what I want y'all to understand, okay? How basically my story started is I come from a Christian background. I have lots of preachers, lots of people in my family that are in the church. And my grandmother was on the motherboard. My other grandmother was a pastor, etc., 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 right? I grew up in the church. I was in a choir, blah, 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 blah. So basically what happened is when I was in 9th grade, right? When I was in 9th grade, it was freshman year. I met this girl. Shouts out to you, bruh. I met this girl and she was a witch. And she basically just really broke it down for me. And she showed me like the world wasn't what I thought it was. And that was kind of like my crack. And nothing much came of that throughout the rest of high school. I didn't have any experiences. I already had been seeing ghosts. I've been seeing ghosts since I was a child. I see spirits, I see negative entities. I had one attached to me as a child, etc., etc. But that's beside the point, right? So this moment right here was really pinnacle in my 9th grade biology class. I met this girl and she was very pagan, and they were like more like the Wiccan Celtic pagans, and she looked the part. She was just telling me like what's the stuff they practice and all this and that, blah, 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 right? I knew that it was there. I knew about it, but I would say probably it wasn't until 11th or 12th grade that I actually started looking into it, but I wasn't practicing. I was just trying to understand. And when I went to college my freshman year, I started to have these visions in my sleep. And for all of high school, I was having visions. I was having these dreams that would not leave me alone. Had the same dream every night for months. Had the same dream every night for years. Or consistently throughout the month, I would have multiple different dreams, but I would have the same dreams consistently throughout the year, right? Where I would remember every detail. And when I got to college, shit started happening for real. That I had been dreaming about in high school and middle school was happening in real life. I was watching people talk to me and knowing exactly what was about to come out their mouth. I was driving. I remember this one time I picked up one of my friends. She was from Memphis, and we went to go pick up this dude that she was talking to on tag out in Jonesboro, Georgia. It was really far because our school, we lived in Chamblee, and so it's about an hour from Chamblee to get over there. We're doing this, right? We drive over there. I'm like, girl, this live out in the boondocks. I'm not bringing you back over here unless you give me some gas, unless this put gas in my tank, yada yada yada. We get there, we pick this up. It's dead of night. We drive up out that bitch. But then when we come back to drop him off in the morning, y'all, I dropped him off and we went a different direction when we left that neighborhood. I'd never seen this exit before. I'd never been to this place before. I came out, I was following the GPS. I came up to a sign. I made a right turn. And as we were going up the right turn, I seen a black GMC with the words Big Daddy written across the top. And I remember in a dream laughing at that shit and being like, who the fuck put Big Daddy on their front windshield? In big ass bold letters, right? Then I remember distinctly, and I was telling my friend, I was like, watch, we're gonna come around this corner. And I said it under my breath, but I was like, two Asian kids playing with their dad run around a minivan and spray them with water. And as we turned the corner, y'all, it happened. It happened exactly as I turned the corner. That shit happened. I just could not believe it, right? So after this, I just started having experiences. I started seeing spirits in my dreams, all types of shit. And this brought me to really be investigating like what I should do. Now, this was like probably like 2012, 2013. So YouTube was a thing, but it wasn't a ton of spiritual YouTubers out here talking about shit. I mean, Infinite Waters and some other motherfuckers who was kind of like on the cusp of talking about something, but really was still gatekeeping the shit that they was talking about. But I knew from what I had heard, like, okay, I need to sit down and meditate and figure out what is happening. And I started meditating. I stopped going to church. I started practicing. I got really big into Wicca at first, and then I started learning more about Egypt, and I've been doing I connected with Thoth. And so when I started working with Thoth, like, I wasn't working with him every day. I would just speak his name, and I would ask him, because I was in school, and I would speak his name and I would ask him to help me. I would ask him like to work with me when it came to school, because I couldn't be consistent and it was hard for me to learn. Now that I'm thinking about that, I should probably do that. But anyway, so that was like the first guy that I ever worked with that wasn't just some ethereal female energy or masculine energy. That was the first opening door for me. But I didn't have my first awakening till my junior year in college, where I was meditating. I used to wake up every morning and meditate on my balcony at 5 a.m. before the sun even came up, y'all, before any shit fucking happened. Okay, so I've been doing all of this shit, right? So basically at this point, like, I'm getting up every morning and I'm sitting down. But this one morning, I came outside, I took my phone off the charger, and I put my meditation music on, and I sat in my balcony with a chair. And I remember it was so much traffic that morning, and it's usually traffic, but it was dense that day. But somehow, like, as soon as I was sitting there for maybe like 2 or 3 minutes, and I dropped into meditation. Like, I've never felt that hard before that point into meditation like that. And I would go to a particular space to meditate, but there was nothing there. It was like a white space, top and bottom. And like, it was just infinitely white. And I would always just walk up in that space. And then this day I was meditating and I seen a woman walk up to me from out the distance of this white space. There was nobody else in this space with me, and she came up in there, and she was so black, y'all, like literally the color black. And she had this light blue, like it was glowing, tattoo on her face. It was coming down the sides of her arms, like, and it was like some type of writing that I've never seen before. Like, and she was speaking to me. She had blue eyes, and she was speaking to me, and she said, no matter what you choose, we are gonna have your back. We're gonna be here for you. And I was asking her, like, who is we? And she points behind me, and I turn around, and it's like, now it's like 1 billion entities behind me. It's like hella entities so far I can't even see every single person. But as I'm looking at them, I'm realizing there are some beings that I can't comprehend. There's beings that don't look human. There's beings that are humanoid but aren't human. There's beings that are human. There's beings that are big, so freaking big that the only thing I could see were their feet. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was just wild. And they all had these blue eyes. And I'm like, and y'all, these ain't no regular blue eyes. This not like blonde hair blue eyes. This is like deep blue. This is like glow blue. Like the shit that you fucking use in After Effects blue, right? And after that, I bounced straight up out my meditation, and I could not go back. I could not meditate anymore after that. It took me a few days to where I could get back into meditation, because it was so shocking. And